Bismillah Rahmanir Rahim. Today, most blacks are still a segregated group living under America's failing economy and are short of the basic desired goal of freedom, which includes control of our time, destiny, and money. We will look at Willie Lynch's program from the position of a long-range plan of economic development and profitable security. How could you enslave, rape, mistreat, and even kill the family members of those under your authority, and at the same time secure the making of a slave and make monetary profits? What must be done to the mind of a people who have gone through such conditioning and still carry on their daily service to the people who have perpetrated this atrocity nearly a century and a half after they have been so-called freed? The Caucasian slave masters understood the depths of their own psyche in relation to the true differences between the phrases slave maker and slave master. The first 300 years of American enslavement of the African dealt with the physical captivity, export, and the trade of black bodies. But there is a second phase to this story that incorporates the two different understandings stated. Black people as a whole must not only define things for ourselves to color and set the tone of our own picture reality, but we must understand in detail the definition of those who continue in their attempt to further control our future. The slave maker can be defined as a person who uses the barbaric tactics of torture, fear, beating, and murder by example alone to obtain control. Secondly, a slave master is a person who has studied the spirit, soul, and psychology on a subject in order to master the internal operating principles that actually makes the person tick. Historically, a title had not up until recently been given to this system, nor had an individual been credited with the development and packaging of such a productive system until the discovery of Willie Lynch's letter. Lynch and company somehow were able to conceptualize the very essence of slave-making methods. The amazement of the matter is that after reading the letter 290 years later, 290, the spiritual drugs of division documented in the archives of this speech have held true exactly as Mr. Lynch stated. The minimum test of time in which this method is used would control the minds of the Negro slave for at least 300 years. Subhanallah. The second phase of the curse of Willie Lynch included the strong prediction that the utilization of his method would ensure the control of the Negro state of mind for at least an entire millennium. Millennium. 1,000 years. I thought that millennium. Thought there was an N on that last syllable. Millennium, as opposed to millennium. Maybe it's a typo. My question to challenge the thoughts of the reader is, can we afford another generation of ours to continue the slave master slave relationship? Well, what must be done and studied to prevent the continued tradition of this relationship? This is in the form of a question. Well, what must be done and studied to prevent the continued tradition of this relationship? Because whether we realize it or not, white America no longer has the need for a codependent relationship with the once shackled slave. To make matters worse, the American economy after the September 11th bombing can no longer support the weight of carrying the responsibility of a mastered slave. I'm going to start the next video